Now on the Locked On Celtics podcast, we are already seeing some of Jayson Tatum's impact on Derrick White, but we're also in need of a little bit of perspective.
Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Your team is the Boston Celtics, and talk about them Monday through Friday, plus bonus podcasts when they play on weekends. They got a ton of weekend games to finish up the regular season, plus bonuses throughout the week sometimes. So make sure you're subscribed to get all of this content directly to your device, or you can watch it on YouTube, where we have a lot of fun on the YouTube page. So thank you for being with me, being an everydayer, and joining me for all of these shows. If you're new to the show, let me introduce myself. I'm John Karalis, beat writer covering the Celtics for Sports Illustrated's Celtics on SI. I've been covering the team for 20 years doing this podcast. For 10, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn your college basketball fandom into bigger potential wins with the college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com right now to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Later on, we'll get into some of the early signs that Derrick White is being impacted in a positive way by Jayson Tatum returning, just like we expected. But we're going to get into, we'll also get into Jayson Tatum's defense as part of this kind of continued. It's like Jayson Tatum 24/7. And to do all of this, to talk about all of this, we go to our guy, Tom Westerholm, everybody. Tom, I can't unmute you. You're muted.
Oh, what
there
up?
You go.
I always appreciate it's always like my own Eddie Palladino coming in, you know. And from Iowa, number.
There you go. That's it. That's our little thing. Our guy, Tom Westerholm, who, you know, is making fans and friends across the Celtics sphere.
That's me.
It's fun. Just realized that my little setup here looks like I'm flying a plane.
That was on my list of things to comment on. Yeah.
Yeah. I look like I'm just, you know, about to contact the tower for clearance for landing. Headphones just big and bulky. I got the headset thing going. It's a new thing, thanks to my friends over at Shure, who this is the same headset mic that Bad Bunny used in the Super Bowl. Yeah, not the same exact one. It's just the model.
No, it's the same one. They sent that's how special. They sent you the same one.
Yeah, there's a Bad Bunny. You done with this? Great.
We're gonna John Karalis. You know, John.
I'm sitting here getting the Bad Bunny hand-me-downs. And he was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm down with that.
I'm glad it's good. He's like, I'm glad it's going to the right person for sure.
Yeah. It's just people often just when you think of Bad Bunny, and then you think of me. And that's just the natural progression.
For sure.
Jayson Tatum, I'm just moving forward. Jayson Tatum is back for 2 games. And Tom, the basketball sphere, the basketball world has exploded in Celtics positivity.
Yes,
it's been wild to see everywhere I turn, because obviously everybody's doing their first podcasts for, you know, after the weekend, after 2 games. And Jayson has looked really good after 2 games. There's just no doubt about it. He's just looked really good. And now all of the people, the Pistons are on a losing streak.
Yeah.
They just beat the Cavs. The Knicks are kind of up and down. And the Celtics are sitting there in second with a bead potentially on that first seed. Which, can we just like wow? Can we just sit there and be like, wow?
I think we can wow. Yeah.
Listen, I know I got people. We are pro victory lap here, so I'm not going to begrudge people for taking their victory laps. People who had faith all along. I don't operate on faith. I operate on just what I see. It's kind of like what Joe Mazzulla says. You know, what was his line? I don't operate on feelings. I operate on evidence, or whatever it was. And the evidence.
Also, Joe Mazzulla said that he doesn't operate on faith. He is a liar.
Well, no, he wouldn't have said faith. He said feelings.
Sure.
He said feelings. If you were to say you don't operate on faith, he'd be like, whoa.
Be showing you his WWJD tattoo.
Seriously. So I don't blame people for being like, oh, now you're finally coming around. Well, no one saw this coming. No one. Okay. You could have faith that they were going to be good but no one really saw all of this coming. And
Right.
Tatum coming, like, this has all been like on top of, it's like you've had this amazing dessert, and then they came around and were like, hey, guess what? I have this sauce that you pour on top of the dessert, and it makes it even better. And you're like, this can't be true. We've been eating this dessert all this time, and it's been amazing. And they pour it on there, and you're like, oh my God, it did make it better. That's where we are right now.
Yeah. Listen, if you have evidence, like you said, we are a pro victory lap podcast. If you have evidence that you were calling this beforehand, post your evidence, but just remember, unless you have evidence like that's like, if your evidence also like, it has to also say Kata's going to be great. Shireman's going to, there's a lot of things that you had to get right for us to really be like, I mean, take your victory lap either way, 100%. Take your victory lap, but to really, if you want to really call it a big win, there were a lot of things that you needed to get right that not a lot of people got right on this team. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's pretty amazing. I think your analogy is pretty good with the dessert, like just this adding Tatum on top of everything. And it's funny. I think that we've seen a lot of people really like, whoa, Tatum's fully healthy. He's ready to go. And he's not. Like, you can tell there is rust. He is slower. And it's just really fascinating to watch how skilled he is, how good he is at basketball, to where, before, it's always interesting because we talked before he came back about what would 80% Jayson Tatum look like. And you just don't know until you see it. And okay, we're probably going to be getting some kind of 80 to 85% Jayson Tatum, but you don't exactly know what that entails. And then to actually see it in action is so fascinating to see him. Yeah, I mean, so much of his game is actually just based on basketball IQ and skill, right? I mean, athleticism certainly helps, but he's in the right position for rebounds constantly. And that's not him going out there and exploding over the top of everybody. That's just him being in the right spot and just being strong.
Yeah.
I got it. I got this one. He's able to rumble to the rim sometimes, even though he's not super speedy right now, because you know what? He's real strong. And if he can get that shoulder into you, like, you're cooked. Like, he's going to get to the rim and he's going to force a collapse, or he's going to get a bucket at the rim. Like, we're seeing a little bit of that stuff. If he gets an open three in crunch time, and he's going to knock it down because he's a great shooter, especially if he's open. It's been really interesting to just see what the 80% is that the Celtics are going to get. And I think, to me, the most interesting thing going forward now is like, okay, how do you like kind of smooth that all out, fit that in with all the really good stuff, with the great dessert that the Celtics have had. Okay, like how does this fill in the cracks, and how does it add a layer on top? And I think all of that stuff is going to be, to me, the most interesting thing about the next month. And I don't know, man, it's energizing, right? It's like I'm excited to. You're so rarely excited to see games in April with the Celtics, and now it's like,
true, yeah,
oh, this is going to be entertaining.
And the perspective here comes from Jaylen Brown, who said, it is going to take some time. The next two opponents will give us some more information, but I think everyone's just going to have a patience that is going to take some time to build chemistry, to build a flow. It seems seamless for now, but that's usually not how things go. So in that quote, which I'm reading from Mass Live and our good friend Brian Robb, there's a lot in that quote, which the end is what we're saying. This is not how it usually goes. And there is this, like, we have to keep a little bit of a dose of reality. Now, I think this is where people get mad at me, because I'm always the one that comes in and is like, okay, a little bit of reality here. And people are like, no, I just want to celebrate Jayson Tatum being awesome. Those can be two independent things. We can celebrate Jayson Tatum being awesome. You should, because he's been awesome. But also keep in mind that it's not a linear thing. These two games have given us a lot to be like, wow, about, but they have also given us more to be like, hey, this is going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
The offense in the Cleveland game was still a little too much okay, Jayson owned the first quarter, Jaylen had the third quarter, and oh, hey, if that's how it goes, that's how it goes. Kind of how the offense has gone a lot anyway. But you still want to see more flow. Well, you saw more flow against Dallas. Now, Dallas isn't as good. So, the San Antonio game is actually going to be telling in a way because you got Victor Wembanyama, as Jaylen has said, that dude's an alien. Like, he's not like I know people missed the Jaylen live stream where he basically said, if I know I said I'm the best two-way player, but Victor Wembanyama is not human, so I'm the best human two-way.
So he doesn't count. That one doesn't count.
Yeah, Wemby doesn't count because he's not human. Yeah,
which is crazy. It is crazy that like a guy as young as Wemby is already getting that kind of treatment from a vet, like a star veteran who I don't think that Jaylen is the most effusive about other team, like about stars on other teams.
Yes.
He will talk some trash and he doesn't always respect players on other teams. And he's just like, no, I mean, listen, like set Wemby aside.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
It's true.
Okay.
It's true. Wemby, I like the breakdown that happened recently where Wemby's like lying in wait. Like he's taken to pretending that he's, oh yeah, I'm just going to go over here. I'm not really watching you. Psych. Boom, block. You're like, oh man, you can't go anywhere near that guy. Yeah. So anyway, Tatum is going to have he's going to have to play against that, and I'm excited to see what does that mean, and that will provide more information and how they're playing with his minutes and all of that. And he's frustrated by the minutes restriction. So there is still a lot of progress that needs to be made. It's just amazing that he's here with a lot of progress that's still to be made. That's where you can celebrate. You can celebrate that, oh my God, he's here. And even if he takes a step back because of whatever, that's okay. Because we've seen the best of him already in this first step of the next phase of his rehab. If he has a rough game, let's just say, maybe he has an awesome game, maybe he has a rough game, but let's just say he has a rough game against San Antonio. It doesn't matter. It's not like, oh God, oh geez, I don't know if Tatum's ready. No, he's very clearly ready. It's just, okay, tough matchup, tough whatever, something that he's going to work towards. It's more of a goal than anything else. So that's the bit of perspective. It's not raining on anybody's parade. It's just there is a lot for him to work on. But Tom, the defense, it might be the most surprising part of all of this. We'll get to that when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena. I know because I'm in a lot of them. In the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, not so easy. But I'm telling you, I've used Game Time before. It's an easy go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back in your hands. When you open up the Game Time app, you're going to see the price. That's the price you pay. No surprise fees at checkout. You're going to see the view from your seat if you're going to a new arena. Maybe you're on the road. Maybe you want to go check them out. Maybe you're new to Boston or you're flying into Boston. You haven't seen what a TD Garden is or what the corresponding section numbers are. They'll show you the view from your seat. And if you want to pick the section, there's zone deals. Game Time picks the seats in the section you choose, and you save money that way. It's a very easy app to use. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKED, locked on, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, if you're using the web, it's gametime.co, gametime.co. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Would love to have you joining the Everydayer Club. The Everydayer Club is $5 a month or $50 for the year. You get ad-free audio, so you didn't hear what I just said for the last minute or so. You get that for $5 a month or $50 for the year. You get access to the group chat on Discord. And if you're signed up before the NCAA tournament tips off, you get into the Everydayer Club bracket pool on Discord for a chance to win Locked On merch. So it should be a lot of fun. Use the code MARCH to get your first month free. Head over to LockedOnCeltics.supercast.com. Use the code MARCH for the first month free. I will drop the link in the show notes. So Jayson Tatum's defense has been unbelievably good for a guy that is still working his way back. You see him picking up obviously tough matchups. He's moving his feet well. He's shifting his feet well. He doesn't seem to have any sort of hesitation. I don't think when I watch him, especially when I watch him play defense, Tom, I don't think he's thinking about the Achilles. And if he is, he's hiding it really well. I don't see him worried about it, avoiding it. I see him just going out there and playing and just ramping up.
I think it really does speak to the level of the ramp up games and stuff that he was playing, right?
Yeah.
I think it's very clear that he played he had some good run. You know, he moved well. He got himself confident. I mean, look, you know, you've been saying this for a while, right? Like when the doctors say it's time for him to come back, he should just come back. Like there's no reason to shelve him. There's no reason to leave him on the bench. And I think that's the clearest thing in all of this, right? Is that the doctors cleared him. He was ready, and he was ready to, you know, and you can see that, like you say, every time he picked up, I mean, you know, he's picking up James Harden, right? He's staying with James Harden and contesting James Harden. Like, I mean, even even against the Mavericks, right? He's getting out. He's contesting 3-pointers. I mean, I think to me it was really interesting defensively. I thought in the first stint that he was out there against the Mavericks, you could see again, we called this, right? We knew he was going to be gassed that first stint.
Yeah.
And before that first, you know, that first timeout, all that, he did look gassed in that first Maverick stint. And I thought that, you know, you could kind of see that on the defensive end, and they hit him a little bit, right? They kind of stuck him in the corner and said, all right, why don't you go guard somebody in the corner? And he did it first. But now, I mean, yeah, I think it really does. His defense, I think, really does put the Celtics in such an interesting place when you look ahead to the postseason, right? Because they are back to having a lineup that doesn't really have any defensive holes. Sam Hauser is no longer a defensive hole. For a while there, I think I may have been the last Sam Hauser defense believer. Like, I just didn't think that he was a very good defender. And I didn't think that it was always his fault. I thought that sometimes guys made tough shots over him. But this year, he's improved a lot. And I don't think the Celtics have a lot of defensive. There's not really anywhere you can just go attack, especially with Tatum in there. And I mean, you know, Shireman, to his credit, was no slouch either. Yeah. But, you know, you put Tatum in there, and I mean, you know, shout out to Baylor Shireman. He's been awesome this year. But Jayson Tatum is an awesome defender. At his best, and even at his 85%, he's really good. He moves his feet. He's super smart. He knows the Celtics rotations like the back of his hand, right? I mean, he's been a part of it for so long, and he's watched it all year. Like, he's super sharp, and I think that really shows.
He's really good at using his body to his advantage.
Yes,
I think yeah, and he has this. He gets low. He gets those arms, and he's got a super wide wingspan, and he just gets those arms out there, and he makes you like you don't see a lane. You can't just blow past him, right? If you're going up against a lesser defender, and you got their hands down low like this way, you can't. A ball handler can just take that first step, set you up, and go, and feel confident that I'm just going to duck my shoulder, and then as you open back up, if you just get past that guy and you open back up, you get that guy on your back, on your shoulder, and you get past him. And now any kind of reach in, you can rise on up and you get a foul, a shooting foul. It's, you know, a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Austin Reeves kind of like move, or the heart. Yeah. The true, foul merchants, you know, free throw merchants. Like, but hey, that's part of it, right? They put you in a bad position. You're like, oh crap, and then they're like, gotcha, boom, and there's nothing you can do about it. Tatum kind of takes that away, and he doesn't need to be. He doesn't need to be like Marcus Smart, right? He doesn't need to be just constantly. like at top speed. He can use the angles and his size and length to do enough defensively where he's not locking you up necessarily. He's just making you work and making things tough on you. And because he's got the length and the long wingspan, you're not shooting over him necessarily. It's tough. You got to fade away. And, unless you're Kevin Durant, but that's about it. Tatum just makes it tough. He's a real excellent piece of a defense, right? I think that's why he's a good defender. The positioning, again, the footwork has been really good for a guy that's coming off of this injury. It does make me wonder exactly when he was cleared, just as a side note.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he woke up this week and the doctors were like, I think you're ready. I think the doctors were like, for a while. I feel like it's been a while where the doctors are like, yeah, man, full go. And whenever you decide you want to play NBA basketball, it's up to you. Because I think that's the only way to explain what we're seeing from him defensively and seeing from him all this, because he's doing a lot of the things that he's always done. Maybe he's a little slower. Maybe he's still doing those things.
And honestly, I think crucially too, right? Because of his length and because of his body and because of just how tall he is and all that stuff, he can play a step back from a guy and still get out and contest, right? Yeah. And I think that matters a lot at this stage when he's still kind of shaking the rust off and getting back into shape. Because it's like, you don't have to be up in a guy's grill. You don't have to be like right there. You can, almost play like, quasi drop coverage on a guy and still get out and contest his three, and you're going to be okay, right? I think that's really nice. I mean, I think that's really important too. When you get into like the third, late in the third quarter, fourth quarter, you get a little gassed. You've been out there for a while. If you can take a step back and then still get out and contest and still do what you need to do, and you're still a good defender, I mean, I think that really helps too. But yeah, I think to your point, it does feel like, I mean, the thing has always been, right? Jayson Tatum is going to come back when Jayson Tatum feels comfortable coming back, and that is when he should come back. But I think medically, you might be right that there was a there may have been doctors along the way who gave him a clearance and then said, "You are clear whenever you feel ready."
Yeah,
because we feel good about it. So
right, so right when everything, you can look at all the scans and everything, like, yeah, man, this is it. Everything's
sealed. Yeah,
it's new. Everything's good. It's up to you now. It's all in your head, and so.
Which is funny too, because there was some chatter about like you should get out there quicker to get that out of your head a little bit. And I don't know, man. I think Tatum coming back now feels like it kind of feels like he nailed it because he's ready. And I mean, what an amazing feeling that must be to just be like to get out there. Your first stint, you're a little rusty, and then you get a dunk, and then you get a step back three, where importantly, you tested the Achilles that you were worried about with the step back, right? And then you play good defense in the second half, and your second game out, you're not super efficient, but you scored 20 points. Like, you just came out in your second game back from an Achilles injury. You played 27 minutes and you racked up 20 points. Like, if anything is going to give you confidence going forward, it's like that stuff has got to feel amazing. So I think he kind of nailed it, honestly.
That's an interesting thing to explore. We're going to talk about Derrick White's the impact he's having on Derrick White, but the nailing his comeback is an interesting topic to continue to explore at some point here. But let's talk about Derrick White when we come back.
All right.
Today's show is brought to you by TurboTax. It is tax season, and we're coming down the stretch. And the old way of doing taxes is, we know it's a lot. Trying to book an appointment, that's not the most convenient thing. Sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, that stinks. Emailing back and forth and wondering if they really get your situation, very annoying. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. Just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night, and we're in tournament time. So you've got tip-offs all over the place. East Coast, West Coast, there's always action. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn all of that energy into bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay that you want. Rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever you want. And you can mix spreads, totals, player props, and match how you see the slate playing out. Then you can apply the profit boost instantly to bump up the potential payout. You want to go safe? You want to go bold? Ride with a team you've been following all season. It's your parlay. It's your style. Now with more upside behind it. Go to FanDuel.com right now to get started. When you sign up, they'll ask you to set a limit, set a budget. Please do that so you can gamble responsibly. Whatever you can afford to lose, that's your budget. FanDuel will help you out by helping you gamble responsibly at FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Locked On NBA, Locked On NBA Game Night should be your second, third listens. They're both in the same feed. Wherever you found this podcast, Game Night covers every game in the league 7 nights a week. I'm there on Wednesdays with Jake Madison. Not this Wednesday. Matt Moore is going to step in for me because the Celtics play the Spurs. Matt Moore is on the afternoon show, Locked On Daily, Locked On NBA Daily. They've got the whole league covered. They had a nice conversation about Jayson Tatum, so check that out as well. So, Tom, I just did a little bit of statistical digging. I didn't want to go too crazy because a 2-game sample at 27 minutes per game is not like hard, just set stats. We all know this. But the way I compared it, the comparison I made on Celtics on SI was you've got it's like somebody when they're sick and you have 101 fever and you're waiting to see, okay, is the fever down to 100 or 99 or have you stopped coughing a little bit? When I look at Derrick White's shot profile, his offense this year, where it's been a little bit of a struggle offensively for him, I'm looking for the signs that things might be changing because one thing that we've been waiting for is how is Jayson Tatum going to benefit some of these guys? Derrick White is like at the top of the list because he's gone to so much on-ball stuff that it takes away from all of the off-ball stuff that he was so good at in the past few years. So a couple of statistics just to throw out at you, and then you can react. All year long, White has been getting open shots, the closest defender 4 to 6 feet away, almost basically 40% of the time, and the wide open shots at 27.4. Now, the last 2 games, the wide open shots have jumped to 32. The open shots have dipped slightly. The difference is basically those open shots, like 4% of those open shots have now become wide open shots. So he's getting better looks. The pull-ups this season, 51% of his shots have been pull-ups. Now with Tatum back, 36% are pull-ups, 32% are catch and shoot, whereas for the season, 28% have been catch and shoot. So basically, again, super small sample size, but fewer pull-up jump shots, a few more catch and shoots. So I'm thinking like we're getting the first data points of the shot profile, the shot diet is getting back to the Derrick White that we know. And Tatum certainly has an impact on that because he's already assisted on I think 3 of the 10 makes that Derrick White has in the past 2 games, including that one dunk that we saw against Cleveland where everything opened up and it's just like that's it. The other stat that I said, 13 dunks this season, 3 in the last 2 games. And like Tatum has just opened things up. So just the early signs, like the little, where it's getting warm out. You're seeing the little pokes through of the little plants. The crocuses are starting to pop through. That's what we're seeing in Derrick White's game.
For sure. And I think it's important. Well, and I think the other thing too, right, is that like Tatum, those shots that Derrick White was taking where they they didn't look like him. They just didn't look like shots that he was comfortable with. And,
Yeah.
that we wondered like, hey, I wonder if Derrick White can expand his game to this. And when you watch it, you're just like, it's not quite there. It doesn't quite feel right. Those are shots that Tatum loves. Like Tatum is happy to take those shots. I also think, I think that it's important that the Celtics don't lean too hard into that, okay, all right, Tatum's back. Everything's good. We like Tatum. All right, you take all that roll back. You take all that, all those like creation opportunities, all that stuff that you. I think it's important that the Celtics keep. I liked what they did when putting like Tatum, Pritchard, White in there, where you've got other guys who can create. Because I think asking Tatum to do all the things that Tatum used to do is still probably a lot to ask of a guy who just came back, right? So I like that, but the thing that I like about the impact on White is it's like he can pick and choose a little bit more now. To your point, Tatum is a great passer, so even if he's not creating shots for himself, he'll create shots for everybody else running pick and rolls. That's great. Derrick White's unbelievably smart. Yeah, cut, roll, whatever. Like you're gonna find the right spot. Derrick White he's a basketball genius. He finds the right thing to do so often. Listen, he's a top 5 player in the NBA if you ask Kenny Atkinson. So, but yeah, no, I really like the White, Tatum, Pritchard. You want to talk about a small sample size. The 2 games in, I really like this 3-man lineup. But I love it for the creation. I love it for the options that it gives them, and for the way that it can kind of ease Tatum back into the kind of game that he loves to play and that he's so good at. Gives him a chance to, gives him a chance to get back to it in a way that's comfortable with other options out there in case it doesn't work for him.
I like the way you put it, where you're like, the shots that Derrick White has had to take but kind of struggled with that's the exact diet that Jayson, and it really is, when you think about it like a diet, it's if you've ever had to eat something you don't like, or it just doesn't work for you, or like think of them as almost like different animals, where one just thrives on this particular food and this one thrives on the other kind of food. But Derrick White's had to eat Jayson Tatum's food, and it's just like, I'm not really feeling it. Now Jayson gets to eat his own food. Derrick gets to eat his own food. And it's like, okay, we all feel better now because we eat what we're supposed to eat, and that's it. So I like, this is why it was so easy. Like, I'm not the only person. We're not the only people to sit there and say Derrick White's going to benefit a lot. Like, a lot of people had that take because we saw the efficiency struggles that White has had all year long. And now you say, oh, Tatum's going to take so much of that away from him that he gets to do the things that he's so good at. Like you said, he's so smart. Listen, Kenny Atkinson is obviously, like, there's a different top 5 player, but I've been so on the, Derrick White is the best basketball player on the Celtics, that kind of weird take of, I just love the way he plays the game of basketball, where it's not being like Tatum, where he does all this stuff and oh my God, he's like 6'11", and that helps him. He's not a generational athlete like Jaylen Brown is, where he can just kind of sometimes just jump in the air and make decisions. Derrick is just so fundamentally sound that I do see him as just a pure basketball player. And that's why I've always loved his game so much. And that's why I had such a high opinion of him coming into the season. I thought he was going to be an all-star, potential all-star this season, because I just trust him to be just good at everything.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that, like, I think, Kenny Atkinson is being a little hyperbolic, right? Like,
right.
Top 5. Okay. But I also think that if you are coaching James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, and Evan Mobley, and you see a guy who is, to Joe Mazzulla's point post-game, right, a connector at that level, and you have all these just disparate parts that are super talented, but just kind of like, I don't know, they're kind of clunking off each other sometimes. You might look at Derrick White and be like, I would take him over anybody. I want him more than I want Jokic. I don't care. Give me Derrick White. Like, I would understand that if you've got parts that just kind of clunk off each other. Like, Derrick White can make it work, man. Like, that's what makes him so special.
It is. It is. I do wonder if there's a little bit of that message being sent to his team of like, hey, you know what? I'm going to say Derrick White's a top 5 player. And you guys got to listen to me say that and be like, what?
Well, I also think it's like, it's a funny one to do to the Celtics, where it's like, there's been all this debate about like, Tatum and Jaylen and like, oh, whose team is it? And then Kenny Atkins is like, well, I think it's Derrick White's team. Oh, you like them apples.
Well, I'm just glad that Derrick White can get back to being himself.
Yeah. 100%.
Now that Jayson Tatum is back. So with that, I'm excited to see where this goes, because these are going to be 2 great challenges. The Spurs and OKC, almost like perfect timing.
Yeah,
I kind of want to see. I want to see Tatum get hit with these haymakers now. Like, all right, let's
perfect
see.
Timing, you say? It's almost like Tatum picked the right time to come back.
Unbelievable how that happens, right?
How that happened. Yeah.
Unbelievable how that happens. So I'm excited to see it. I'm also excited to say, Tom, thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
I do appreciate all of you too as well, listening, watching on the YouTube page. Thank you so much for being here, for making the show your first listen every day. The #1 Celtics podcast on the planet, and it's on the #1 sports podcast network on the planet. It's all because of you being here, listening every day. Bonus podcasts on the weekends, during the week as well. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Would love it now if you shared the podcast and told everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.